over the next hour or so. To find out who our first guest is, let me hand you over to our MC for the evening, the beautiful Mr. Fred Cooke.
Thanks again, Tommy. Well, our first guest is Mr. Bradley Walsh.
Yeah.
Great stuff. How are you, mate?
How are you, fella?
I'm really good.
Great to see you.
And you, man? And you?
I'm very well. I'm looking at you a lot on the telly.
I know, apologies.
And you make me laugh.
Apologies, mate.
It's all right.
Well, you make me laugh, that's why I'm here, and you came to England, did a couple of gigs for me, so
yeah.
When they said to me that you were doing this, and I've seen it on, YouTube and stuff like that, caught some bits, I said, absolutely, so
is it awful crack doing the chase?
It is, but, we've been going now 14 years, basically, so, yeah, it's a lot. We get through a lot, Did
it start shite? And then...
Do you know what?
Like, what I'm asking is, like with those afternoon... It's now hilarious and interesting.
Well, I think what it is about the show... Let me put my pack there. I think what it is about the show, Tom, is that it's informative. And it's the sort of show you can sit down... The kids come in from school, and you can sit and watch it with mum and dad. And so there are some easier questions in it. Yeah. And so for the kids to answer and stuff like that. So basically that's how we get on. And then we have the pantomime villains. So it's all in the package,
I don't agree with you. I think the reason it's watchable is because of you.
Well, that's very kind.
No, really, because you're kind of like it's really obvious that you don't take it seriously.
Well, I love it. I actually love the show, Tom, to be fair. I really love it. And I'm thrilled when I get a question right. I'm absolutely thrilled when I get it right, And I just think that when we first started, can I quickly tell you the story?
Please.
And I'd come out of game shows and quiz shows and get moving more into acting, like yourself, you see. And I was doing a show called Law and Order, which was getting pretty good reviews. And you know as well as I did, you can tell everyone at home that acting and sitting on a set all day is unbelievably tedious.
Yeah.
It's excruciatingly boring. And I'm not that sort of person. I'm sort of a bit of a Gemini, I'm like a bit fire off here and there. I need to be doing stuff. And I just happened to be walking in the Gray's Inn Road one day. This is absolutely true. And walking down Chancery Lane and I turned left into Gray's Inn Road where the ITV offices are. And I thought, I'm just going to... So I literally rang up to a lady called Ali Sharman and said, hey, Ali, it's Brad. Do you need... have you got anything going in LE? She went, well, she was head of daytime. And she said, well, what do you mean? I said, but she said, no, you're acting now. I went, no, no one will know. No one will watch daytime telly if I'm acting at night. You can split them up. She said, well, we don't really do... I said, please, if you're getting it... She said, well, let's have a cup of tea. I said, what about now? She said, where are you? I said, I'm downstairs. And this is absolutely true. So she said, we come up, sat in her office, and she said, what do you want to do? I said, well, have you got a quiz show or anything? She went, look at that. I looked at it, and she said, what do you think? I said, well, can I take it away and digest it? She said, yeah, of course. So I took it away, and I said, yeah, this can work. This will work. And she said, OK, well, we're going to make a pilot. I went, I'll do it for you. She went, yeah, but it's only on office run-through. I said, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Don't worry. She went, well, OK. So we 19th floor, 21st floor of the television centre bit on the South Bank there. And I was running it, and then the Beast come in. He was the first one, and Sean Wallace. And I said to Mark, what's your name, mate? He said, Mark. I said, what's Mark what? He said, Lebet. I said, it's an unusual name, Lebet. What does that mean? He said, it means the Beast. I said, great, you're the Beast.
Yeah.
I said to Sean Wallace, what do you... He said, I'm a mastermind champion. I said, oh, I don't really fancy that as a nickname, the mastermind. No, what else do you do? And he said, well, I like football, Chelsea fan, I like boxing. Who's your favourite boxer? Nigel Bennell, but you're the Dark Destroyer. And that was it.
Why were you looking for a game show to do?
I get bored, Tom. I really get bored, which is why now all the dramas I do, I also produce now. I exec because I get other stuff to do. Because to sit in my trailer all day, it's just like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actors read books all day, but that's all they do. I mean, they're not even working. I don't know why I'm doing that. They're not even working. I said, what are you doing? Well, I'm working.
Drumming workshop.
I'm working. Yeah, I just work. I'm working away. And there they are, working away. And they're not even working.
Yeah.
and they're just reading books. Well, that's an awful waste of time, by the way.
Why do you do the acting?
Because when I was a kid, I used to love playing parts, and I was in the school plays, and you know, I loved being in the school plays. I just loved them, you know. And the only thing I've ever got to do, the only thing I've got left to do in the entire career is play the lead role in the West End in a musical. Not a play. I've been in a play, but in a musical, it's the only thing I've got left. Now I've been offered many, but they've not been the right show.
And what's the attraction towards musicals?
Well, I like singing a bit as well. I've released a couple of albums, and sorry, mate. And but I like singing as well. I like tunes, and one of my favourite musicals of all time was Oliver.
Yeah.
You know, and I always wanted to play Fagin.
What's the attraction of Fagin?
Well, I'm a big Charles Dickens fan.
Yeah.
And there's the attraction for me to Fagin is not to play the musical part, but to play him really dark. Really dark. I think there's a lot of hidden agendas with Fagin, you know, as well.
Mentionable hidden agendas?
Well, I'm not sure whether they're mentionable or not, but I'm pretty sure you could work out if he's knocking around with kids all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm just not sure, but I think it's very dark. I mean, everyone remembers the...
Ron Moody, is it?
Yeah, Ron Moody, Consider Yourself and all that sort of thing. That's fine, but everyone forgets, because they've probably never read the book, that he gets hung in the end. They hang him,
Right.
Fagin. It's funny enough, I've written a backstory of Fagin. A prequel, basically.
Yeah.
And there's a company now, we're sitting with a company at the minute. And I also wanted to know how he became Fagin and why he became Fagin and where he came from.
Did you train as an actor?
No. I'm still training now. And that's the secret. You'll never... Listen, I've got friends, they will remain nameless, who have gone to RADA and couldn't act their way out of a paper bag. Do you know what? You've either got it, and do you know, if you make a movie, and your pals will tell you, it's all you've got to do is get that little vignette right, and if the lighting's right, and a bit of underscore music, and the editing's right, and the DOP's got it right, and the directors come up and say, listen, we'll just do it a little bit like that. All of a sudden, you're like Laurence Olivier.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis. Well, to a point, yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis, you know. I mean, I don't know if I should talk about this, but I'm not sure whether you're all fans of it. But one of the greatest films I've seen in a long, long while, and I watched it 3 times, was, and I've spoken to some Irish friends who did not like it at all, and it was The Banshees of Inisherin. Mm-hmm. Now, not necessarily about the subject matter, but the performances were extraordinary. You know, I always tell my son, who's an actor, I just say, you know, remember where you are. Remember where you've just come from in the scene. Don't just go and do the scene dry. You know, learn your lines, that's great. But remember where you've just come from in the story and where you're going. Because I'm talking to you now, you know, and I know what I'm doing now, because in a little while I've got to get on a plane, get back to London, because I've got to go there and I've got to go there. Do you know? So know what you're doing. And,
it sounds like you, when you're talking to your son about a part, that you wish you were doing the part.
Well,
it sounds like you're jealous.
Well, I don't think I'm jealous. I've done my fair share. What I want to do, Tom, is have a sit down and take it easy. That's what I want to do. Yeah, I would just love to be able to. I've missed my vocation in life. That's what's happened. I've missed my vocation. I should have been a director.
What's stopping you from doing it?
I just think it's time.
With energy.
I think, well, I've got bags of energy. I've got bags of that. But I just think, you know, age, I think there's a certain amount of time you've got to slow down as well, Tom. You know.
You're 70 or?
No, I'll be 82 next month. I'm 63. Cheek. 70.
Because you look really old this close. On the chase, I don't know, maybe it's my TV, but you look late 50s, but this is disturbing. Yeah. I mean, Clint Eastwood is old, but Jesus, he's 101 and he's still shouting action, isn't he? No one can hear him, though.
Yeah, but he's not doing 3 chases a day. He's not doing 3 chases a day, is he? So, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there is time. I don't know. But, you also, you've got to promise your family to spend more time with them, take it easy, have some holidays and stuff like that, Because, and the worst thing is, it's a very odd sort of tag people give me as well. They say, you're such a workaholic. I'm actually not. I'm not a workaholic because we cram everything in, as you well know.
Yeah.
TV don't work like that. I will make a whole year's of chases in 50 days. 50, So I've got 310 days off. I'll make 10 blankety blanks in 5 days. I'll make a series of gladiators in 2 weeks. I'm done. It's like 70 days, 80 days. I'm done. So I have all that. So I had recently, I had 10 weeks off in Portugal. I didn't know what to do with myself. Do you know what I mean?
You need to be working.
I'm not sure I need to be working. Even when I'm not working, I'll be sitting there doing this. I'll be sitting there doing that, for no apparent reason.
Working in a hairdresser.
Yeah. yeah, absolutely.
Or a vet's.
Yeah, anything to keep me occupied. So I'm always writing and stuff like that. But that's by the by. It's just, that's quite interesting. I met Tommy Tiernan today. Tommy looks really well. I think Tommy could play George Bernard Shaw. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the beard is the only thing I'd have going for me in that,
Yeah, but nice. Listen, you can act, mate. You're good, great actor. Very good. Very natural.
How would you go about persuading people to let you direct? Have you talked to people about it?
Yeah, I think what you have to do is, first of all, you've got to be in a position whereby you could say you have a long-running drama, for instance. You can have like an 8-part drama and then just say, look, here's the deal. You'll let me direct 1 ep. And that's the deal breaker. If you want me in the show to play...
Okay, act and direct, okay,
yeah. You can do that. You can do that. And then that sort of bloods you in their eyes. And if you do a good job of that... And a lot of the time, you're working alongside a good DOP or director of photography that will... Because that's what it's all about. Because I can't... It's very odd now, colour palettes and things like that. I can't see. I'm colourblind.
Me too.
So that's a killer.
Where are you deficient?
Red, green.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And I'm a Gemini.
Yeah. Oh, you are. It's the same thing. Are you left-handed?
No.
Okay. Why are you sitting there? And I'm left-handed. We should be the other way around because that's right. I don't know what to do with my hand. I don't know what to do with that. I should be in that.
I'll hold you.
That's better. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. That's the sort of thing. You would do, so you become like an executive, and then they say, well, listen, I'll do one act. Yeah.
Why did you do the stuff with your son? Didn't you do? It's called Brad and Dad, is it?
Breaking Dad.
Breaking Dad.
Well, sorry, it's one of the most wonderful things I've ever done, because spending time with my lad, from the age of 18, he's now 26, by the way. That's how long that show's been running. Was just extraordinary. It was the greatest thing. People say, what's the greatest thing you've ever done in the game? You're not going to believe this, but all the things I've done some stuff. In 2006, I was in a pantomime in Milton Keynes, and my son, I needed a sidekick in the show, and my son, at the age of 7 or 8, played my sidekick. I was Buttons. He was Zip or something. and he knew that we used some of his gags that he'd played with his mates, so all the other kids in the audience were going to get it. It was that level. We had and running down for the curtain call every night with my son and taking a bow was the greatest thing I'd ever done. And it still is today. Until, of course, you then go on the road with him and he's throwing you off a bridge or something like that. And I've just... Like anybody else, dads mainly, I go as mums as well, that try and forge careers for themselves.
Yeah.
You don't spend enough time on your kids, I guess. And that's payback time. But I've really, really loved it. I've really loved it.
It's a great stroke of luck to be able to do that, isn't it?
And I swear, Tom, unbelievable. Because you've got a few kids, haven't you, Tom?
I have 6.
Yeah. So I've got a daughter as well, by the way, sorry, who's 41, but it was different ball game. That is, well, she's not in the industry. But Barney, who's, I always say this about him, he's the person, he's the man I always wanted to be. And I say that because he's just the nicest. He's not like me. He's more like his mum, Don. You know, he's very sensitive. You know, whereas I'm not sensitive, but I'm a bit more sort of, come on, let's get stuck in, let's go. You know, and so to be on the road with him, and then here's the lovely thing: 4 seasons into it, 5 seasons. And he was you watch him grow from when he started. And all of a sudden, it's come season 4, season 5, he's now producing me.
Okay.
He's going, Dad, no. Think of it like this. We need to go. And all of a sudden, you're going, yeah. So you're now working in collaboration. And I've really, really enjoyed that. I was on the phone to him now early enough. He sent me a short movie. And he said, Dad, have a look at this. Tell me what you think of this. We can produce something like that. So get something on the road. So
it used to be the way, I think, historically, that fathers and sons would work together.
Yeah.
You know, when we were agricultural or
well, of course.
Whatever, you know. I hope you get to do Fagin.
Thanks, mate. Is that it finished?
Yeah.
Oh, Tom.
I've been here 3 hours.
I've come all this way? Really? No. I'm just getting started.
What were we talking about then?
What do you want to talk about? Well, when I was 14.
Oh, here we go.
No, that's great.
I had this teacher.
I've been rapid.
Tell us about the dude with the teeth on the chase, the Irish guy with the massive forehead and the teeth.
Who's that? I'm not going to remember that.
He's one of the
Chasers?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the Menace?
Is that his name? Okay.
Dara Ennis.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a clever dude.
Yeah.
No, he's really
And Paul
good.
Sinha, who's an ex-comic.
Yeah, Sinha. He's an ex-doctor. He's a stand-up comic.
Yeah,
He's a stand-up. He's very good, Sinha, Paul Sinha. But let me tell you, Dara Ennis, he's like he does flies and bugs. He's a neurobiologist or something, or biophysicist or something. That's not my game.
But you are, for me, you'll be flicking around, and I know if I hit on you, that you'll make me laugh or smile, or there's a warmth about you, because you pretend to be the thickest person in the room.
Of course, a bit of self-deprecating humour. A bit of self-deprecating humour never hurt anyone.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a joy, really.
Yeah, I you know, and I actually do say, that's why I ask the questions. I'm a bit dim. You know what I mean? But that's the way it is. Everyone has to be the jest. Someone has to be the jester. Someone has to be the meanie. Someone has to be You're all playing your part. You know, it's a panto.
We're both Geminis. We're both colourblind, and we both pretend to be more stupid than we actually are.
Well, I think I'm more stupid than you. I think.
Stop showing off.
I think I'm properly dim. I'm really dim. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, of course you are.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit clever. Yeah. You have to be thick, do you? Why can't I be the thick one? We put stupid and stupider.
My Irish pals are going to love this.
Yeah.
They're going to love the fact I've come on here. Brilliant.
Pleasure, fella.
Lots of love. Love to your family, mate.
Yeah.
God bless you, Tom.
Totally.
It's been really great, mate. Really,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the second half, everybody. Freddie, who's next?
Tommy, our next guest is Celine Byrne.
How are you?
No! I'll give you a hug or...
Sure,
yeah?
why not? Yeah, pure Offaly. Is it Offaly or Kildare you are?
Kildare, but
Kildare.
you know, COVID's still going round, so
Yeah.
you never know.
How's the work going?
Good. Yeah, good.
Are you singing much?
I never stop.
Really?
Yeah. No, I love it because I'm doing all different things. I'm doing a bit of TV presenting, bit of radio. I know.
What TV are you
I'll
presenting?
come back to that. And then concerts. And I'm going abroad to do concerts with different people and operas and stuff like that. So I'm doing kind of a bit of everything.
What's the TV?
Well, I'm dipping into that now a bit, like at Christmas. I did was called Celine Byrne's Christmas Selection Box, which was just They
Just
normally...
porn you've watched over the years.
Pardon?
Just porn you've watched over
Oh
the
my
years.
God, did you say that? Oh God, no. Do you know what though? When they were telling me the title, I have to say I was like, oh, that could be misconstrued. But anyway, yeah. So just doing links to archival footage of carols from over the years, the carols at Christmas over the years. Just doing links. Yeah.
Why opera?
I suppose it was a hobby that developed into a career. I suppose it all started when I had my first child when I was so young, that the responsibility of having a child and thinking, what's this got to do with opera? Getting there.
No, but I'm just, that wouldn't be a sentence people put together.
No, but I
had a baby really young, so I decided I better cop on and do opera.
No, I just decided I needed a career, you know. I wanted to provide for my child and I wanted to provide for him, so what was I going to do? And when I left school, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
How old were you when you had the baby?
I was 19 when I had him, but when I left school, I didn't know if I thought I wanted to be a nurse. Fado, I thought I wanted to be a nun. But anyway, that didn't happen. Yeah, I thought I wanted to be a nurse, and then I thought I wanted to do something in music, and I wanted to do music theology and philosophy. And I wasn't sure, was that the right thing for me? And so I took a year out, and I went to Italy. And I worked as an au pair, and I went to see opera first time. So this is the long story short. Went to see an opera for the first time and thought, I've always loved performing, and this is an art form that I'm actually just blown away by, and I'd love to do that. So I did my degree in music, and I did a master's in music. So I have my master's, and then after that, while I was studying voice and piano. And then after my master's, by then I had 2 children, I was married, building a house and the whole lot. That was all done while I was studying. And when I finished my master's, I decided to take a year out and do competitions to try and get out there. And I won a few of them, and it culminated with me winning the Maria Callas International Sing Competition, which is one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
So I was delighted with that, as you do.
Yeah,
Go on, you good thing.
Yeah.
And so out of that then I was offered many opportunities, some that I couldn't take because of the fact that I had a young family and I couldn't leave them.
And you still love the children?
Pardon?
And you still love the children?
I just decided, that they were probably a bit more important. Yeah, because my career, I love my career, but it's my profession. My vocation is to be a mother, and that's what's more important to me. So a lot of opportunities I couldn't take, but everybody goes on a different path.
Yeah.
So I just went down a different road, and in the end, I did get to do the things that I wanted.
Yeah, people wouldn't say that you're unsuccessful.
No, like I got to sing in Carnegie Hall, I got to sing in Albert Hall, I got to sing in Covent Garden many times, and I've made a career for myself, and I've worked hard. As you know yourself, it doesn't happen overnight, you know, you have to work hard.
Why are you good at opera?
Well, I think I'm a good singer, first of all, and I think I'm driven.
But it's a physical thing as well, being able to sing opera as well, isn't it? It's kind of the shape of your skull and the size of your lungs. And
yeah. It's
where your cheekbones are.
It's technical, yeah. It's all about the resonance and your diaphragm, your intercostal muscles, and it's very, very physical.
It's
very
really
physical.
hard work.
And the most physical I ever did was I was in Austria, and it's on a lake, and the stage is on a lake, and it's huge. And I did Madame Butterfly there in Bregenz, and the stage was huge, and there's 7,000 people, and because the stage is so big, did I mention that it's huge about a couple of times now? Just stressing the enormity. But I was running up and down the stage, like bring me back to the old days where you could just stand and sing.
Why the attraction towards theology?
I think I've always been interested in religion, and it's always been something that's been in the subconscious and has come more to the fore over the years. I do find it as a form of, like, anybody that knows me will know that I talk about, you know, religion very just openly, like it's part of my life, and also about mental health, which is also part of my life. So I think I find it very interesting because I look at it as a kind of like a mindfulness religion. When I have times where I'm down or where I have difficulties, I find religion very helpful for me, like prayer in itself. because it distracts my mind from the thoughts that I might have that wake me up at night. Because I can go to sleep like that. I can fall asleep very easily, but I wake myself up then with thinking about things, overthinking, you know, wondering, oh my God, hopefully I didn't offend anybody, or did I say that, or what does she think of me, or somebody said something. I do a concert, like thousands, that's, yeah, full of yourself, Celine. A few people might say.
You had to crowbar that in, didn't you,
Yeah.
the thousands?
No, I didn't mean that. But a lot of people would say, oh, you were great. Thousands over the culmination of the 20 years.
Too late. It's too late, you said it.
But like you might get like loads of comments saying, oh, that was great. I love that concert. I love that song you sang. It's my favourite aria. I love that opera, blah, blah, blah. And then there might be one person that would say something, and I would be so hurt. That one thing could
Why is that,
really
I
get on
wonder?
top of me, and it could stay with me for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm a people pleaser. I want to, you know, just want to make sure that everybody's happy and that everybody's enjoyed themselves. And
Why are you like that?
why?
Yeah.
I know why. Because I want to be liked. That's why. Yeah.
You are.
I just want people to like me. So if I'm, you know,
You are liked.
yeah. Well, maybe there's one or two out there that don't like me. You don't know. You don't know. You never know.
Yeah.
You know.
It's just when you were talking about, can I ask you, how do you pray?
How do I pray? Just praying, just having conversations in my mind, or just for, you know, if I'm having an anxiety talk, I'll just start going, please Jesus, get me through this, or whatever, you know, and just. But mainly, it's just to offer my day and hope for the best, and pray as much as I can that God can come into my life and help me, but also help other people, like.
And why do you offer the day to God?
Because I just want to get through the day, and I hope to God that nothing bad happens, and that, yeah, and that something and good can happen that day within my life and lives of other people.
So it kind of sounds like you have experiences of being distraught.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure everybody has. Yeah, I have.
And why do you think that happens to you?
I think it happens to everybody. I just know that I had episodes in my life where I was really down. But I came through it.
How?
Well, when you're down, right, you know those people that come over and go, well, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Or you'll be grand, you know.
A good answer to that question is yeah, but it's a train.
But like, I'm thinking, when you're in that position, you don't see light at the end of the tunnel. Somebody's telling you, but you're just thinking, yeah, whatever. Like, when you're in the dumps, or when you're down, you actually feel at your worst, and you actually think, because I've been there, you actually think there is no way out. You actually think this is terrible, and I can't get over this pain.
But what's the pain?
It's just horrible. It's feeling like that's just it, and being really upset, and just it's just a pain. It really is. Like, it's real pain in your heart and in your gut, and then a numbness, thinking you're never going to come out of it. But anyway, hey ho.
The specific prayers that you go to.
God, you're mad about the prayers, Tommy, huh?
The specific prayers that you go to.
Yeah.
What is it about them that you lean on?
I think it's just to know that somebody else is there, you know? And I think that's it. It's a good feeling to know that somebody's looking after you. It's a nice feeling. And
I don't think it's true, though.
you don't think it's true?
No.
As in, you don't think God exists, or you don't think there's somebody looking after you?
I'm not sure there's someone there looking after you.
I feel that there is.
I went through a really stressful thing a couple of years ago, and I remember like my mind felt like it was being fried. I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was pacing the floor, and it was just it was something I couldn't control. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and I'd be down on my knees and I'd have a Bible up on the bed because I was in need of help, and nothing happened. Nothing. Now, in hindsight, I can say that over time the thing passed, and maybe that was what happened. That maybe help doesn't come in the way that you always think it's going to come. And the whole thing lasted maybe a month, but it was severe and it was awful. But I remember, and maybe sometimes the help is invisible, but just when you were talking about waking up in the morning and praying and feeling as if that was able to kind of mind yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember doing that, and nothing. I begged and I begged and I begged, and I said, please, please help me.
Well, thanks for sharing that. But
and nothing happened.
What were you wanting to happen?
I wanted peace.
Peace.
I wanted to be relieved of this anxiety that I knew was imagined.
Did it dissipate when you start going into prayer and distracting yourself from the thoughts that maybe woke you up at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Well, not really. I mean, in the way that, you know, if your foot is on fire and you start singing.
Okay.
You do what I mean? You kind of think,
Yeah.
you can be slightly distracted from your burning heels. But no. So it's interesting to me.
Continued.
Yeah. This moment of being able to tell the story without suffering like that is...
It seems strange, doesn't it? Because when
I was going to say, it's a pleasurable place to be, because you're talking about something awful that you're the far side of.
Yeah. But when you're in it, it's overpowering. Yeah.
And for all the people in the country who are going through that, I sometimes see people on the street and their heads are fried. And you just think, you poor creature, like, do you know?
Yeah, it's difficult. But there is help out there. You just have to find the right help. And within yourself, find your own coping mechanism that can deal with those issues that you're having. And everybody has to find their own coping mechanism.
When are you singing next? When is
my next thing? Well, I'm going away with Barry Douglas. We're doing a tour of America. And one of those on the 5th of March is going to be in Carnegie Hall.
Oh, lovely.
Then after that, I'm going to Switzerland and doing an opera. I'm actually doing my favourite opera, which is La Bohème. My favourite role is Mimi, so I'll get to sing that. She dies in the end. Nearly everything I sing, they're dying. And then in the summer, I'm going to do a few concerts with Jose Carrera, Sandra Bocelli, and then to Bangkok to do the Festival of Music and Dance over there. So I'll be busy until the end of the year. I remember my dad coming to see La Bohème in Scotland the very first time I did it.
Yeah.
And she dies of consumption. Now, would they look at me, it's not consumption she's suffering from right now. They'd want to really believe you, wouldn't they? But I remember when I died, and so you're in the bed, and she passes away slowly. La mani al caldo dormire. She dies. And then you hear this music, ba, ba, ba. Yeah. And then your lover comes in, Rodolfo, and he's like, Mimi, Mimi. And he's distraught. But I remember afterwards, my dad's coming up to see me in my dressing room. And I was like, are you all right? He's in flood suits. I knew it was you. I know. But you were dying, and I thought you were dying, but I knew you weren't dying. And he was in bits. Yeah, he was in bits. I'll never forget how really upset he was.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, so I've done that role now a lot of times, and I think about him always when I'm doing it, because for him to believe that I was that person I was very touched by the fact that he actually was really drawn into the character, even though he knew it was his daughter portraying it, you know.
Are you able to just do the way you just flipped into the opera there? Are you able to just do it like hop into it? Like, really?
Yeah. Actually, when I was in the dressing room here, it was weird because I was in the dressing room and I started going, and then I realised, no, Cillian, you're not booked to sing today. But it was just an automatic thing where I was getting ready and I was doing these warm-ups and I was like, oh, scarlet for myself.
You're presenting as just this, you know, lovely lady from Kildare.
I don't know the lovely part.
But you have this superstar career. Do you know what I mean? That it's not, there's no airs and graces about you.
I don't think there could be.
You know.
If my ma be around the corner with a sod of turf and she'd throw it at me. But I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's been great talking to you.
Well, it's been great to be on and to chat to you, yeah. Great. Great stuff all together, bye, huh?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome back to the third half, everybody. Freddie, who's next?
Tommy, our next guest is Dr. Austin O'Carroll.
Austin.
Hiya, Tommy.
How are you?
Nice
Pleased to meet you now.
Likewise, too. Thank you very much.
What's your story?
My story. It's a good opening
I'll
question.
start at the beginning.
Yeah, long ago.
And don't leave anything out.
I'm a GP.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor. And I suppose there's 5 things I do, roughly. I run a GP practice in the inner city Dublin, and I love working with people in the inner city and who are working in areas of deprivation. I also founded a number of things. I founded the Safety Net, which is the main service that provides GP care for homeless people in Ireland. And I founded another organisation called GP Care for All, which provides similar GP care and also addiction services for homeless people and marginalised people. I also founded a GP training programme that trains GPs to work in areas of deprivations. It was the first of the kind of its in the world, actually. And there's several of them now in the UK. And I also founded another organisation called GP Care for All that develops GP practice in areas of deprivation. So I suppose a lot of my work is around providing healthcare to people in marginalised.
Why?
Because people in the margins and in poverty, like if you're born into, okay, I can give you statistics or I can give you stories. I used to work in the inner city when I was a student, so 1982, I used to take kids out on hikes. We used to go up the mountains, and it used to be mad times. Those were the times when you didn't have to have, certification, so we used to get lost up in the
insurance.
mountains. Or insurance, exactly. And,
Or the exact same amount of kids coming back as you had.
Exactly. And if the kids came back injured, they'd be given out rather than you. So, it was a different time. So, but I remember I had a group of kids from Sean McDermott Street. There was 15 of them, and they were wild. I had great fun. Anyway, long years later, I ended up working in the inner city.
But sorry, what attracted you to do that work in the first place?
What happened to me was actually, my parents were big into volunteerism, so I used in the Scouts, and I got involved as a Scout leader and a Cub leader. And then when I got to college, it was actually my sister said, join the Vincent de Paul, she said, and I said, why? Because that's a great way of meeting people. So that's why I joined the Vincent de Paul. But that got me...
Did she mean like go on dates or just be social?
Well, I think she just meant being sociable, so she did. But I got a few dates too, so out of it. But I always say, I had 2 educations in college, because I was in Trinity College. So the walls in Trinity, actually, interestingly, Trinity is designed as an island in the city. It's supposed to be an island of learning. And the walls separate this beautiful, calm island from the grim poverty and deprivation outside. So I always had 2 educations. There was inside the walls, which was, I taught medicine, or actually law and medicine. I did law first. And then outside the walls was the education that actually changed my life, because I ended up working in Pearse Street and Sean McDermott Street and Ballyfermot, and I just grew to love the inner city. I ended up working a lot with kids and youth programmes in the inner city. And I grew to love the inner city. But suppose going back to why do I work in the thing, go back to that story about those 15 kids. When I eventually became a GP, and in 1997, not long after I started, I was asked to go visit a patient who was dying from hepatitis C. And I drove down, and I didn't know this patient. They just couldn't get a GP, so they asked me. So I said, sure, I'll go down. So I went down, and as I arrived at the door, this door opens, and this woman comes and says, Jesus, how are you, Austin? And it was one of these kids that I used to go out in 1980. And her name was Margaret, and then her sister Tina was there, and so I said hello, and it was great crack. And so I started asking after them, how are all the other kids? So of those 15 kids, around 7 or 8 had died because of the drug addiction that had swept through the inner city. And that's when I started working in the inner city, like, I had never met so many people mothers who had lost 2 or 3 children to young children to anything but drugs in particular. So why? This is an area, in areas of deprivation, people die younger. They die 5 or 6 years younger. Of their shorter lives, they spend more time with ill health. They spend around twice as long with ill health. We know there's less GPs in these areas so despite them being sicker, despite them having shorter lives, more health needs, they've less health services. So that's why I got involved in doing that.
That's not really why, though.
No, that's fair. Yeah, why? I just love the inner city. I love the. It's a community that's been really hammered. It's been rent and torn apart, but still remains as a community. And amongst homeless people, homeless people are really chaotic, and their lives are all over the places. Some of my staff call me Dr. Chaos, because I like chaos, and I've always liked working with homeless people. There's a sort of a grittiness and a reality to them, which I like. I think I'm attracted to that grittiness and that reality. It's also great fun as well. There's always banter, there's great crack. So it's all this mixture of pain and fun and humour that, in a way, I just love working in that sort of...
Why do you think those areas are deprived?
Oh, I think, Dublin was the second poorest city in 1911. It's a huge history of poverty. Where I'm coming from, in North Dublin, all those Georgian buildings were, there's centuries of poverty behind this. So, and then, our economic policies promote inequality. Give you an example from this morning. I was angry at this. I met this young woman. In fact, she was in again this morning, but I met her last week when she told me this story. She was, when she was 19, she was homeless until she was 19, and then she got out of homelessness. And she got herself an apartment, a bedsit. And she was paid HAP, this is the rent support, of $950, and the rent was $1,300, so she got $350 more. So she got a job and was able to make up the difference. Then every year the rent went up, and last year, the week I saw her, she was saying the rent's now $1,700, and she says, I can't keep going. She says, so she actually says, I'm doing extra shifts, I'm getting stressed out. So she said, I've just given up my job last week. And she says, I'm going to end up homeless, because if I end up homeless, I'll have more money in my pocket, be able to afford more food and do the things I want. So that's the type of society we've created that actually forces people to do that type of thing. So, and we vote for that every time we vote for a party that's going to redistribute wealth towards the wealthy as opposed to towards these areas.
Why do you think they're so criminally negligent of the inner city? Why are politicians like that?
I think it isn't just politicians. I think we blame people for being poor. I think we blame, and we do that in several ways. We know our own Taoiseach said that he represents the party of people who get up early in the morning. Now, I laughed because he's never been in a hostel because they're all up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I wasn't sure he knew he was representing the homeless. But so in a way that, that message is, the people who work hard do well, and those people who don't do well mustn't be working hard. They must be lazy and feckless. And we blame people for using drugs. Drug users, I think, are the most stigmatized group of people. So, there's this image that they're junkies, that they're feckless, that, it's an individual responsibility. I work with medical students a lot, and I always ask them, I go into a class of 150 students, and I say, many of you know someone who's taken heroin, and you might find 6 or 7 people put up. I says, many of you know someone who's died from using heroin. You might find 1 person. I said, you go into an inner city primary school of 8-year-olds and you ask that same question, and probably almost everybody will put their hands up to both questions. I said, because drug use is about poverty. And we create poverty, so we create drug use. What happens is we create poverty, poverty puts stress on families, parents start arguing, they start falling out with each other, there's shouting, there's banging, kids get very stressed, they experience this huge trauma, and then they go out and when the way anyone who's working nowadays and work with addiction, we understand that they're actually injecting heroin to self-medicate. In other words, it's a method of healing their own trauma.
So how do we care?
I think, first of all, I think caring is fantastic, but it shouldn't be about caring, it should be about rights. You know, everyone should have a right to be born into a home where they have as equal as much access to education, to opportunity. And it's not just even opportunity, it's to hope, you know, the belief that you can actually do something.
You can't, how do you create that space?
Space for hope.
Yeah.
I think addressing poverty, it's going to take decades and generations to get over poverty. But how do you create hope for people? First of all, there's 2 ways. When you're talking about from a nation, how do we as a nation help? Well, I think you have to give people resources. So access to schools, access to preschools. Preschools have been shown to be one of the most effective ways in helping people escape poverty, because you get in early and you get them engaged in activities.
Yeah.
You know, the way you often see a kid who's 2 and they're a great kid, you see them 2 years later and you think they've been lost already. So getting them in as preschools. You need to get resources into them. So, for example, Finglas is you go the motorway down Finglas. Mm. On one side there's East Finglas and the other side is West Finglas. I think they're roughly around 20 to 27,000 each population. There's around 8 GP practices in East Finglas, which is a well-off area, and the area of which is a huge amount of deprivation and great community, but it suffers a lot with drug addiction, etc. There's 0 GPs. So the area that most need services. So if we as a nation want to help them, we need to get not just the same amount of services as across that motorway. There needs to be almost 1.5 to twice the amount of services.
Why is there none on that side?
Because I think there was a GP, and when they left, no one took over from them. Because what happens at the moment in our thing is GPs almost start off their own practice where they want to. And, you know, it could feel a bit threatening to start a GP practice over there because it's an area of deprivation. So from a nation's point of view, we need to have policies that promote the development of services and the provision of services in these areas. Because I do think communities that get support through having services there, having community organisations that support them, that is and having access to education, they are things that will help people escape and improve over time.
Can I ask about your body?
With disability?
Yeah. What happened there? Or
so this is thalidomide. So my mother took thalidomide, you know, the drug in the 60s. Yeah. So my mother just took 2 tablets. I think it was 2 or 3 tablets. And what happens with thalidomide is that you take a drug at a certain stage of pregnancy. So at the stage she took it, my arms and my feet and hands were being forming. And at that stage, it caused them not to form. So that happened to me. I know someone else his mother took 1 tablet and she has no arms or legs. So, and a lot of people, very sadly, their parents will have had miscarriages, because if they took it too early, it caused significant damage that caused a miscarriage. Mm. So with me, I was born like this with my mum. And when I was first born, most of my leg down here wasn't formed. It wasn't. So for the first 5 years of my life, my surgeon was doing work, building this up. And yeah, so that's the disability I had.
Do they slag you about it in the inner cities? Like, do they have a nickname for you? Because I'm just thinking they're kind of banter-heavy areas where people live and die by the word. So I'm just wondering.
Well, they call me Little every now and then. So I remember we try and like you get patients who get heated, and every now the way which we try and manage them is try and manage them by sort of saying calm down, relax, you know, because we don't want to get you thrown out. We also use jokes.
Yeah.
So I remember this guy coming in to me, and he was looking for benzo tablets off me, and I have this way of saying no. Rather than just say, no, we don't do that, I say, I'm really sorry, but we're not allowed to do that, but I can help you lots of other ways. Try and be nice. And he wasn't buying it. And so eventually he went out. Now, this is a crowded waiting room. There must have been around 20 people in the waiting room. And he goes out and he says, that's a little fucking dickhead of a cunt in there. So I opened the door and I said, excuse me. I said, I am not little. And he looked at me and then he laughed. He says, you're mad. But it was the whole waiting room relaxed, but it was great because he came back the following week. And I didn't lose him, sort of, as a patient. So, yeah, they'll call you little. I mean, over there, they'll call you more than little when they don't get what they want out of you.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But you can give it back as well. You can,
Yeah. It's, I think the people are used to hearing the story of deprivation.
Yeah.
And people have reactions to it. Oh, it's half their own fault. That stuff you were talking about earlier on. But what I am not so familiar with is the story of hope.
Okay.
And creating that, so that thing of the idea of you're entitled to hope.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a very positive thing to be working on, isn't it?
I think it is the key thing that helps you get out. I was talking to some teachers recently who were in North Brunswick Street in a primary school there. And I was asking, how's the school going? Because it's a real inner city. And they said, well, it's great. And I said, why? He said, we have all these migrants coming in. And the migrants all want to do something. So he said, it's changed the atmosphere in the school. So I do think, that's if you don't have hope, you won't engage. So it doesn't matter if there's a school, whatever educational opportunities in front of you, if you don't hope or you don't have expectations, that kills you. And I think you look at someone like Kelly Harrington, who comes from that area, and she has a lot of kids in the inner city boxing. Because, that's their hope for getting out of this and getting some sense of meaning. So, it doesn't have to be just about education, though I think it's the critical one. So, I think it is the essential requirement for getting out of a situation that's, of deprivation.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Austin. Thanks for coming on to the show.
My pleasure. Thank you. That flew by.
And now to play us out, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Armagh and Manchester, it's The Breath performing the title song from their brand new album, Land of My Other.
Mary lied to your mother, oh, she lies for another. In the wars, oh, he died for another, oh, he, the land of my father, oh, heal the heart of my mother, the heart of my mother, oh. watch on my others. Oh, keep a watch on my others. A watch on my others. Oh, keep a watch on my others. A watch on my